Dear parents, welcome to the Nursery Orientation Program for Jolly Phonics. Our chairperson, Dr. Mrs. Amita Chauhan, strongly believes in the famous quote, "Today a reader, tomorrow a leader." Reading helps us learn an incredible amount and gain insight into so many different worlds, actions, and motivations. Reading opens doors to the universe and beyond. And the younger a reader is, the more doors it can open. Through this video, we would like to introduce you to our methodology of developing this very important skill of reading and writing in our youngest Amitians of class nursery. Now let's look at the points that we would cover as a part of this orientation. What is Jolly Phonics? Why is it important? The 5 basic skills. And how will it help our children become confident readers and independent writers? At the end of the video, we would be sharing with you some easy and fun ways in which you as parents can help your children at home. Jolly Phonics is a systematic synthetic phonics program based on the proven, fun, and multi-sensory approach which helps children to read and write from an early age. We all know that the English language has 26 letters in its alphabet, but there are more than 26 sounds. These sounds are the phonic building blocks that children, with the right tools, use to decode the English language. Do you remember how we learned to read and write? We followed the look and say method, or what is called the whole word approach. We were only able to read those words which we had read before, and for dictation, to practice writing each word 100 times was so much exhausting. Sure, we don't want our children to do that because that was too hard. Now if I ask you to read this word, how will you read it? Let me ask you, what did you think of when you were trying to read this word? The letter names? Strancodry, or the sounds strancodry? Yes, the sounds, of course. We realized this way of reading much later, and this is exactly what we want our kids to learn right from the beginning, to work out words using sounds. So no more rote learning and no fear of dictation. Reading will be fun and enjoyable. There are 5 basic skills covered in Jolly Phonics. Learning the letter sounds, learning letter formation, blending, identifying sounds in words, and tricky words. In Jolly Phonics, there are 42 different letter sounds which are divided into 7 groups. The order in which the letter sounds are taught go from the simplest to the more complex letter sounds. The first group of letters were chosen because you can make more simple 3-letter words than with any other combination of 6 letters. This enables the children to start blending and reading words quite early, which is highly motivating for them. Initially, only the letter sounds are taught instead of the letter names. This helps to prevent the children from getting confused between the sound and the name while reading and writing. In nursery, only the single letter sounds from A to Z are covered, which means the sounds of the first 3 groups and a few others like J, Z, W, V, Y, and X. The digraphs, which are 2 letters making 1 sound, from the 4th group onwards are introduced in KG. The first step in learning to read and write is to learn the letter sounds. Each letter sound is introduced through a story, a song, and an associated action. For example, to introduce the sound of the letter S, that is S, the story goes like this. A boy and his dog are out on a walk. Suddenly, the dog begins to bark. In front of them, A snake rears up out of the grass and hisses, "Sss." The hissing snake is making an S shape. The children are asked to make the same shape, saying "Sss." This is how they learn their first sound "S." They also sing the song for the sound.
The snake is in the grass, the snake is in the grass. The snake is in the grass.
The link for all the sounds will be shared in the knowledge resource section of our school portal Amitranet. You can encourage your kids to listen to these songs at home. Children love stories, actions, and songs, all of which help them remember the letter sounds more easily. Learning a language requires the development of four important skills, namely listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Our learners' activity book are specially designed to build these skills in children in an effective way. Here you can see the introduction page of the sound S from our learners' book 1. First, the children are encouraged to describe the picture in their own words in order to develop picture comprehension and speaking skills. Then, the vocabulary related to the sound is introduced with the help of actions, picture cards, and other interactive games. Children are not expected to read these words. The focus is primarily on building vocabulary and the recognition of the sound, which you can see is highlighted in red in every word. The second step is letter formation. Before the children are ready to write, they must be able to hold the crayon or the pencil correctly in a tripod grip. This is important right from the beginning as it is much harder to correct later on. Lot of freehand drawing, coloring, patterns and other activities are done to build these fine motor skills and foster correct pencil grip. It is also important for the children to form the letters correctly. A multi-sensory approach is used here too. Every letter has a verbal clue associated to it. For example, the verbal clue for the sound S is go round and curl back. Children are encouraged to repeat the verbal clue every time they trace or write the sound. They are encouraged to feel the shape of the grooved letter while finger tracing in the learner's book. See each letter written on the class board or write each letter in the air, sand or in other sensory ways. With reading, there are two basic skills needed. The first is decoding, and that's word reading. The skill of decoding is being able to work out unfamiliar words by looking at the letters from left to right. Say the sounds linked to the letters and then blending them to listen to the word. Comprehension, on the other hand, is just as important as decoding, but it is a different skill. It mostly develops naturally through speaking, listening, and reading. Children whose parents read stories and talk to them a great deal have a huge advantage. Their understanding of spoken English is much better and they have a far wider vocabulary. However, it does not teach them how to read. What it does is to enable them to understand and enjoy what they are reading. Comprehension skills improve naturally with spoken language, but the skill of learning to read and write has to be taught systematically using synthetic phonics. The third very important skill in Jolly Phonics is blending. Blending is the ability to join the sounds together to hear a word and is essential for reading. This skill is encouraged from the very first day by using what we call as silly language. We tell the children, touch your leg, neck, stand up, and so on. While doing picture reading also, children are asked questions like, can you see the sun? Or can you see the dog? You can also practice these skills with your children at home by speaking in the same way. For example, ask your child to bring his or her bag or to switch on the fan. This way, children will understand that words can be broken apart into sounds, and sounds, when put together, form words. Once the children have mastered the technique of blending, they will be able to decode written words. For example, to read the word cat, they will go k-a-t, cat, or slightly more complicated words like s-a-n-d, sand, or even longer words like st-a-m-p, stamp. Once a word has been blended a few times, it becomes known, and then decoding is needed only for new words that have not been read before. In this way, children need not memorize words, and then reading comes naturally to them. The next important skill is segmenting, which means being able to identify sounds in words. This skill is also developed right from the beginning by asking children to act like robots and break the given word into sounds. Initially, children are taught to break the word into onset and rhyme. For example, the word pan can be broken into p and pan, and sun into s and sun. Later, they are encouraged to identify and say all the sounds in a word. For example, the word hat has three sounds: h, a, t, hat. The children are also asked to hold up a finger for each sound and count the number of sounds in a word. This really helps them when it comes to writing even unknown words all by themselves using their phonics knowledge. Once the children are able to hear the sounds in words and know how to write them, they are ready for some simple dictation. First of all, letter sounds are dictated, followed by simple CVC words, which are words having a combination of a consonant, vowel, and a consonant. Example: cat, hop, tin, and so on. When the children can do this, they are ready for other decodable words with the sounds that they have learned so far. Not all words in English can be written successfully by listening for the sounds, as some words have irregular spellings or use alternative spellings that the children haven't learnt yet. Some of these words like I, the, he, she, me, etc. are words that the children need to know if they are going to read and write captions or short sentences. These words are called tricky words. In Jolly Phonics, there are 72 tricky words divided into 6 levels of 12 words each. In nursery, only the first level, called the blue level tricky words, will be covered. With regular practice, children are taught to read and write these words. Lot of oral sentence construction is also done to make the children understand their usage in spoken language. Parents, you can play an important role in encouraging our children to revise the letter sounds by preparing a sound book and helping them go through it regularly. Some children learn the letter sounds very easily, while others who find it difficult are the ones who might have a poor visual memory. So support from home can make all the difference. Here is a sample of an independent writing achieved by the time children reach class 1. As you can see, the spellings are not accurate, but the child has been able to express her thoughts so beautifully, and that too without any help. This is exactly what we want our kids to become: confident readers and creative writers. We would also like to share some important links which can help you understand this program and support our children in achieving this milestone in their lives. You can also download the Jolly Phonics app from the App Store or Play Store and let your children have fun learning the skills needed for reading and writing. And the last but not the least, how can you support your child? Well, let's start with this. You don't have to be a teacher. Your child will learn phonics at school, but there are some general ways in which you can support your child at home, and they are all easy and fun ways to do. First, read to your child every day. It develops the two important skills, listening and speaking. Ask your child questions before, during, and after reading. This will help him or her to build early comprehension skills. Let your child see you reading. We know children model the behavior that they see. So when they see you reading, they will also develop reading habits and the love for books. Encourage your children to identify the letter sounds and point out the words which your children can decode. Have fun rhyming. So play a lot of rhyming games. Encourage your children to sound out words. Give them a word and ask them to chop it into sounds. And believe me, this is real fun for kids. Practice reading a few tricky words every day. You can stick the tricky words in your child's room or his or her favorite place in the house and ask them to read them every now and then. And remember to praise and reward them for their efforts. Most of all, have fun together. We hope this video has helped you understand our way of teaching to read and write to our little ones. With the right kind of phonics instruction and along with encouragement from you, our children will get up to a great start and become confident readers and able leaders of tomorrow. Thank you, parents. Have a great day ahead.